It's amazing.
No.
So we've talked about desire, we've talked about faith, we've talked about autosuggestion, we've talked about specialized knowledge, we've talked about imagination, we've talked about organized planning. So now, actually, I think this was one of the first things you brought up was decision is the 7-step to riches. So decision, what does decision mean to Noah Grossman? How do you apply that?
I think we just have to, I think it was Will Smith that says, just decide.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
When you decide to just do it, everything else falls into place.
Yeah.
Right? But you have to be 100% clear on that decision. Even if you don't have the desire in the first place, like if it's something important but you don't really want to do it, but you have to do it, you probably don't have the desire if you don't want to do it, but you have to. But if you just decide to do it, everything else works out.
Can you give me an example?
Yeah, I think it was in that same speech that Will Smith was giving. He talks about skydiving.
Yep.
I went for my first time this last week.
That's amazing. Yeah.
Yeah.
About the
fun.
fear and how everything awesome
the,
stuff is on the other side of fear. Yeah.
And it's just deciding to lean over the edge of that airplane and just do it. And then everything else works out. Right? There's not much you can do when you're when you're skydiving besides fall.
Yeah.
But it's the same with planning our lives, I think.
Yeah.
If we just decide, if we get caught up in all the details of it again, of all the planning, we're going to have that decision fatigue and not make any decision. And we're going to sit on the edge of the airplane, missing the best parts of skydiving, missing the only part of skydiving, or sitting on the sidelines, missing the best part of life.
And I think a lot of people just do that in life, itself, is that they sit on the sidelines. We keep going back to the security thing, but I'm safer here than jumping off that plane and finding out what it's at.
Yep.
And watching all those people come back from that skydive going like, boy, I wish I could be more like that guy. But I'm safe here.
But there's always another plane. There's always another go-round picking up a new group of people, but they still don't do it.
Yeah.
There's always more opportunity,
Yeah.
but we always get caught up in what other people are telling us. Oh, it's not safe. Oh, like, aren't there studies that it's more dangerous driving to go skydiving? Like driving to the place than actually skydiving?
Yeah.
Right? But people drive to work all the time. What's the difference? It's just the normal dangerous thing that we do that we don't think about.
It's been accepted as and it's almost like the more normal it is, the safer it is, even if it's not.
Even if it's smoking, for example. Like I'm not a smoker, but it's the norm. There's been countless studies that tell us that it's not safe. Yeah. Right?
Yeah.
And so, but it's the norm, and so it's okay to do.
Yeah, and this is just how I've lived it. Like I don't want to be on my deathbed. Nobody knows when the deathbed's coming, but I don't want to be on my deathbed going, oh, man, I really wish I had done. Excellent. I've never skydived, but if that's something that I really want to do, I don't want to be.
Come with me. I want to do it again.
I will. It does scare the living bejeebers out of me. Yeah, to be able to do that. Yeah. But I even like small little steps of, like, where everybody freaks out about public speaking or something like that, or being able to, I know I could be so much better at this person. I just want to stay in my little safety egg. I don't want to be that guy that I want to be on my deathbed going like, nope, I did everything I wanted to. I'm really happy, that I did this. But I think I don't know what this. I know there's a saying out there, but like how the regrets are the one thing that you're going to regret the most. I just don't want to be that. So I think that there's so many people in life that if you really want to take, if you want to take that leap of faith out of the plane and whatever life situation you're doing, I think you should do it, because like the Will Smith thing said, is everything is, all the awesome stuff is on the other side of that fear in life.
On that, the difference between the one step, right?
Yeah.
Like safety in the plane.
Yeah.
One step later.
Yeah.
the best parts of life.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I think maybe it's in this book. I read a lot, so I get mixed up. But there was a quote. I don't remember, but it said the richest place in the world is the graveyard. It's because nobody actually acts on their desires and their visions and their imaginations. It's all stuck in the ground now. Mm-hmm. Because we're all afraid to do anything outside of anything that's normal at all.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. And I think too that we got to realize, like we were talking about kids, you know, I mean, what are the kind of things that we're passing on to them that
are to their detriment?
Right. I mean, what are we're trying to keep them so safe and so secure for so long. And yes, that's something that we have to do. We have to make sure that they're looking both ways inside the street. Exactly, yeah. But what are the security? What are the tiny little security eggs that we're keeping them in? Just like you were saying, you know, when your 2-year-old daughter's running around and everybody's like, calm down. I mean, and he even talks about the conscious subconscious, and I think it was Bob Proctor that was talking about how at till 5, like all this conscious brain is just open and you're just pouring all of this stuff in. I mean, what kind of decisions are we making that we're pouring into these little child's brains and then going through that? And I think the thing too is that it's going to happen. It's going to, like, you know, 100%. A lot of times parents are going to protect them from something because they think it's something that they would never do. But, you know, it's important to encourage the children to make their own mistake as long as they're not hurting themselves, hurting other people, and really making decisions where
they're too life altering.
Yeah. And I think that's where, like, all those guys find themselves is on the other side of the hill. I think I can. I did.
Yeah.
You know, like everybody's looking at them like, oh man, they're so awesome. I wish I could do that. You can't.
They're a different breed.
They're a different breed. You know?
But they're not. Right?
They're not. You know, we all have this ability to jump out of the plane and make that decision.
Yeah. No, I remember so a week after my wife and I got married, we went, it's been about 4 years now, we went back to the home that I grew up in. And because that's where my family still lives, so we went back and visited them, right?
Sure.
But I grew up in, didn't have a father. Well, did until I was 8 or 9. Parents got divorced, and there's 5 of us children and my mom. Right? My mom had to work all the time in order to provide for us.
Sure.
Right? And so she was gone a lot. And anyway, so, and us being, it was 4 boys and a girl. And so you can imagine we weren't quite as respectful as we should have been to my mother or to the home or to life, probably. Right?
Sure. Yeah.
Anyway, so I remember we went back, and I felt embarrassed to have my wife in the home I grew up in because of how I treated it. There was, like, I mean, me and my brothers, we would, like, wrestle and accidentally put a hole in the wall or something, right?
Right.
But we didn't have the money to fix it growing up.
Right.
And so the hole I made when I was 16 years old in the wall was still there. Mm-hmm. Or like the carpet that was torn up by the dog, we couldn't fix it and it was still there, right? The humble means, right? But I brought my wife into my home after we were married, and I just felt like and bless my mother, she had all of the right intentions and she did the very best she could. But I never wanted that, and I never want that for my wife or for my kids, right? And so, and we were just talking about this last night, actually. And in that situation, and so to finish off the story, I guess, that the week after we got married, I went home and I just kind of looked around in my home. I was like, holy moly, I'm such a bad kid. And I was so embarrassed. I went into my old room. I sat down on my old bed and I just cried. My wife came in there and she's like, what's going on? And we had this conversation. Like, I'm not going to let this happen, right? And so that's why I know I've already accomplished my goals when I'm 35. It's because there's no other option, right? Like the first week of marriage, I made a commitment to myself that the life I had previously, it was a wonderful life. We were so very blessed. We didn't have the same things that other kids had, but we had a lot more than a lot of other people.
Sure.
And it's just not. People all the time say that there's more to life than money, and I hear it all the time. You work too much. Go take Saturday off. Spend time with your family. It'll be fine. Just take time. And I'm like, no, why? No. Like, now's the time to work, right? Yeah. I don't know. Sorry, I'm on a rant right now.
No, it's cool. I think you're just talking about decision, and I think that like we've talked about it, there's just so many people out there that won't reflect. They won't go sit on that bed and reflect about what they want in life, and they dictate of all these different things that they allow others of what their wants are to dictate how their life is. And I think the real key is that we all have that choice. Do we want to make that decision, or do we want to sit on the king of the hill as the blockbusters and say, oh, nothing's ever going to bother me? So I think it's a decision is make the decision.
Powerful, right? And then just got to stick with it.
Yeah. Right. And jump out of the plane or don't, and be okay with it at the end, and say,